I have the pleasure of being with George Taylor, who is the founder of Cine, Casa, and we're in one of your installations here in Madrid. We can't actually give the location, but
no, we can't.
It's a project that you've been working on actually for 2 years.
Yes.
And you worked from the beginning with the interior directors and the architects to create this home cinema. Beautiful home cinema.
Yeah, we started from, the actual owner actually had the allocation set up in his original specs. The cinema room was just a box. And the pleasure that we had, or the challenge, was that we did have the space, but we had to go from scratch. We had to work on the dimensions, work on the acoustics. There were a couple things that we did have to work around.
Okay, one of the things was this gentleman has grandchildren, and
yes.
He wanted this specific floor. That was one of the acoustic challenges that you had here.
Yeah, we did, because this actually is the cinema room, but it's right by the gaming room where the kids have a pool table, ping pong, and everything else. He wanted to have this type of floor just because it was clean. He wanted to avoid any kind of problems with allergies or anything like that. And it is the extension to the other gaming room.
Okay, and the acoustics in the room, are there special treatment in the walls? Maybe you can give a little bit of detail on that.
The walls actually were treated acoustically. It's completely covered because there's a cloth that actually covers the entire room. But you're right, there's diffusers, there's actually all kinds of bass traps. I mean, we do have the setup, but it's all behind. He wanted to obviously maintain the aesthetics.
Okay, and another one of the challenges was the projector. He wanted that to be...
Yes, he wanted to have it hidden, so he decided that we should try to come up with some kind of a way to not only be able to hide the projector itself, make sure that it was cool, and avoid the noise, especially because the very last row of the cinema is directly underneath the projector. And
all of the equipment is in a rack in a separate part of the...
It's in a separate room specifically to avoid having any noise problem. Plus, it actually made it more of a clean setup.
Another one of the specific things for this installation was the control pad.
Yeah, it's completely Crestron controlled. The interface was specifically done to avoid having to use glasses because the buttons are extra large. And they're very, very intuitive. The GUI was specifically designed for him because he actually can have a pre-visualize whatever content that he actually has. He could be watching a movie. He can actually have a small size of the television and swap, which is obviously quite convenient. Plus, he's got a streaming video database that he can access directly on that screen before he presses play and have it go on the cinema screen.
Why don't you give us a little bit of detail why you've chosen certain of these brands to integrate into this system?
Well, we've been, you try to get the very, very best there is, especially for this type of installation. We've been partners with Stewart since the beginning. The screen that we're actually using here is a 4-meter screen, micro-perforated. It's one of their Cinema Curve series that actually allows you to have different settings from 4:3 or normal television to 16:9 to 234, because he wanted to have that flexibility to watch any type of source. Other than that, we obviously chose Runco as like the #1 obviously option to be able to complement the screen, and it's a VX22. Because of the size, we actually had to go to a Xeon type lens.
Okay. In terms of the sound?
The sound is Klipsch. It's all in walls except for the front, which is right behind the screen. The subwoofers are also hidden in the walls. And the idea was to have a cinema room that didn't look like a specific cinema, and he actually could use it for several purposes. You mentioned his grandchildren. They actually play the Wii here, and there's a very large area in front of the first row specifically for that reason. The same thing goes with the electronics. We're actually using Lexicon. So he did go top-notch because it made sense to give it a whole that way.
Well, George, thank you very much for this opportunity, and congratulations.
You're welcome. Thank you.